This is the Backlog Exposed podcast, bringing you weekly discussions on gaming, as well as quick insights into sports, entertainment, and anything else that we can think of. To get in touch with us, be sure to check out our website, thebacklogexposed.com, where you can find all of our social media details like Twitter, Discord, YouTube, and Facebook.
I'm Joe.
I'm Kevin.
And we are
The Backlog
Exposed.
Now. Gear up and get ready, because this backlog is about to be exposed. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Backlog Exposed. It is January 4th, 2019. Happy New Year. This is our first episode of 2019. The other one was just a thank you episode. Today we have a special guest. His name's Justin Mikulinski. He's a friend of mine from high school, and you might have heard us talking about the WVF. Well, Justin was a part of that. He's had some hellacious battles. I don't know if we're going to get into that today, but we are going to get into gaming. We're going to get into being a dad in gaming. We're going to get into some of the things on the backlog. And so I know Justin had some things he was playing over the summer. I believe at one point he wanted to talk about Bloodborne. I don't know how deep he wants to get into that, but Justin, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let everyone know a little bit about yourself and some of the games that you're going to be talking about today on this episode.
Yeah, so Kevin, thank you for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. I've been listening. I think you started back in June, I think.
June or July.
June, July. Yeah, I've been listening. For the most part. I think I've caught almost every episode, and I just think it's awesome that I listen to a lot of podcasts, and it's awesome that that I have a friend that does this because it's something that I've grew a lot more interest in. Gaming is my number one hobby to do. It's something that I think about daily. I listen about daily. I play almost daily, and watch videos of. So I believe I'd spoken to you sometime over the summer, early fall, about wanting to write a review about Bloodborne, which, if people aren't aware, came out in, I believe it was March of 2015, and to, critics' high scores. And the Souls games, they were always very intimidating to me, just because I don't have the time to really get into understanding the mechanics of them and how to master them and really study the movement of the enemies.
It definitely is a learning curve, isn't it? To jump right in, and it's not like any game you've ever played.
Yes. Yeah. So, but I love the art and the aesthetic of Bloodborne. I think that was the first one that really kind of drew me in. It kind of has this Victorian era look to it. And I love the design of the monsters and the sounds in it and everything. And it was just fantastic. And, it came out on Games or PlayStation Plus. It was free, I think, for the month of February this past year. And I was like, all right, I watched some videos, started to learn how to really play the game. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. And I got my ass kicked.
It took me literally 2 hours to get through the first zone. Just the first monster you approach. I mean, like you said, the mechanics alone are hard enough to understand. And once you get them down, once you get the mechanics down, you can move forward. But the best part about the Bloodborne or the Dark Souls games is that every enemy, no matter what part of the game you're in, can kill you. Yeah. And so you don't get stronger than them. I guess you kind of do, but you get more aware as opposed to stronger. So as you go through these levels, you unlock shortcuts. Every level you get to, it has a path you have to go, and it's a long path usually. But then you'll, right at the beginning, there's a gate and it's locked from one side. Well, when you get to a certain point, you can unlock that gate, and now you don't have to go through all the enemies to move forward. So, that can be a real pain in the ass.
As you progress and, you start beating some of the bosses and, really starting to unlock different paths and lighting the lighting the torches. So you can have like different areas, like different fast travel checkpoints. It kind of makes the game, it's like, all right, I'm going to die, but that's okay because I can get right back into it.
Exactly.
I can just like, all right, I'm here at this. It's not like I have to start all the way back to the beginning. And every time you die, all the enemies respawn. So the other part of that is though too, is you start to learn, okay, this is where this enemy is going to be. This is like the path that they're going to take. And I don't know if you remember, but there was this one enemy in the beginning, and it was like I think they called it the Executioner, this big guy with an axe that was just kind of like in a corner. So game came out, and I think I played it like a couple of times. I borrowed the game from a friend because I was like, I gotta play this game. And I'm getting through the mobs, and I'm like, all right, this is going okay. And then I come across this big asshole, and he just wipes the floor with me every single time.
Every time.
Every single time. And I spent like 2 hours one night. I'm like, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure him out. But he's moving so fast. And it wasn't like it was swing, back up. It was like he would swing and then I would move. But as the axe was coming down, he was already going into another swing and like just taking me out. And I couldn't figure it out. So I put the game down, and then fast forward 2.5, 3 years almost. And I'm like, all right, game's free. I got to go back into it. Still have my, original save on the PlayStation. That's
a true backlog moment, man. 2.5, 3 years. That's a true backlog.
Yeah.
I love it.
Exactly. That was like why I was like, I got to write about this, and the Backlog Exposed. Man, this is like a true backlog. So I get back into it, and the guy's still killing me. But then I remembered it. You remember that episode of South Park, the Make Love Not Warcraft?
Yes.
Where they all get into World of Warcraft, but there's that one overpowered character.
The one dude. Yeah.
Yes, I was a big World of Warcraft player too, so like that one kind of like really spoke to me. And they were like, all right, well, we can't level up because this guy keeps killing us, so we're just going to stay in the woods and we're going to kill boars for 1 XP. So I took that approach, and I would literally just go around killing all the mobs up until a certain point, and then go back to the dream world or whatever it is, and just like level up. And I did that for hours and hours and hours just to kind of get my stats up. And, that game is, I always say that like games are either strat or stat, it's either strategy or stat.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
But this game, it's like, all right, the numbers are going up, but you can still die. But, I was able to like upgrade some stuff and, you
get better weapons, more potion, all that stuff.
I think more importantly is like, I just started getting more confident in myself and how to playing the game. And I finally took that fucker down, and it was one of the best feelings. And then I went on to the first boss, the Cleric Beast, and it's this gigantic werewolf looking thing. Killed him on my first try. Felt pretty damn good. I was like, all right, now we're talking. But then Spider-Man came out, and I haven't played it since.
Jed and I both played that game until the end, and
which one?
I got to the last
Bloodborne.
No, the Bloodborne.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you what, he was living in Italy at the time, and unfortunately enough, he's moving back to Italy in a week and a half for 5 years. But yeah, he was living in Italy at the time when we played. We couldn't always sync up, but they had a very weird duo system, or if I can recall, it was like anytime we tried to play together, you risked having someone come into your round from like a griefer, like someone who's playing, and it was happening so damn much because the game had just come out. Mm-hmm. It was like we couldn't progress, and it was just stupid because those guys don't get as aggroed at all to the mobs that are in the round, I think. Or if they do, I don't recall them taking too much damage from them.
I don't remember, but
yeah,
I know that I've seen it. Like I never had it happen to me. I just kind of stayed offline, just because I was like, I got enough to worry about here. I don't need to add an extra layer of it. It makes sense, obviously, for you because you're trying to connect with your friend.
Yeah,
but yeah, that would be a pain. That would be a pain in the ass. I had one game. It
just made it frustrating. And frustrating isn't fun if there's no. Like if that presence wasn't there, the game was still frustrating, but it was frustrating fun. It was like you said, you fight till you beat it, and then you have a sense of accomplishment. In this, it was just like, you say you have a long commute, but now all of a sudden the police are just throwing nails in the road. It's like, what the fuck? Why do we need this? That we don't already have the commute. Yep. So it just became very cumbersome. And then there's a point towards the end where you're by yourself, not necessarily with a co-op player, and they still have people summoning in using those bells. So you get to a point where you're just like, fuck this. And I beat that area. I beat the next area, and you get to the last area, and I forget the name of the last guy. Mm-hmm. I got to him. I fought him once. I died. I put the game down. I have never gone back in and beat it. I had actually uninstalled it because I watched the video online. It's one of those things where at that point I had in my mind, there was enough accomplishment with that game that I didn't need to stress myself out further by trying to beat that last guy for 3 weeks until I broke my controller. So there's a funny PewDiePie video of him fighting the 3 witches.
Okay.
I think it is. And I mean, it's been years, but I just recall him playing that. And I think that was the first time I'd ever seen PewDiePie.
Does he still game? I always, I hear things about him, he's obviously a pretty controversial figure as of late, with different things. And I'm going to go check out his video. He's got 78 million subscribers. And every time I look, it's just, he's like, I just don't understand. I'm like looking at him, like looking at the image, and it's like him with like these big bulgy animated eyes, or it's like him reviewing something or talking about whatever.
He's more of a commentary now as opposed to the gaming. He comments on people commenting on him. He tells stories about, whatever. But he does throw in clips of gaming here and there. I don't think he does that primarily. And if he does, it's probably just on his spare time. I don't follow him too religiously, but I am subscribed to him just to get those updates. And
him and Markiplier were two that I did not understand. And we used to watch some Markiplier videos because he had some pretty good segments of playing some like scarier games or whatever. But, I check in on him. I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about, dude. Cool.
I watch a lot of Twitch. My son and I will throw it on, and he has certain guys that he likes watching play, and his whole game is Fortnite, obviously, right now. Yep. So he likes watching Ninja. He likes watching Allier, and I like the fact that he chooses to like those guys because they're family friendly. Even if they weren't at one point. Like my son sees Ninja as he doesn't want to watch Tfue or, some of these other guys who might be better than Ninja, but just cursing all the time and stuff. So, and I don't mind that for me, but for him, I'm glad that he gravitates towards that automatically. And so
you gotta give Ninja a lot of respect for making that decision to kind of go family friendly.
Yep.
That the thing is like people were giving him a lot of shit for like, oh, you're selling out, you're just trying to get your numbers up and keep the kids and everything. It's like, the kids are going to be there regardless. The kids will be there, but how you are in front of them, like you're going to be an influence on them.
Yep.
So,
But even all that aside, who are we as a group to tell him he can't sell out or to tell him he can't do that? Like, when I was having my t-shirt business, the ultimate end goal in my mind was like, man, Walmart could pick me up and take my line of products. Yeah. that is from a seller's standpoint. That might not be the most prestigious place to put your clothes, but like it is the most lucrative. Yeah. And so if you get your product into a store, I mean, I got my product into stores, and when I did, it was the most unbelievable feeling to say, you know what, they're actually buying bulk orders of things that I've come up with. They're putting them on the shelf, and people are walking around browsing, and they're going to pick something of mine up and they're going to buy it. Yep. Rather than just go to my website because I posted a link somewhere. And it was an awesome feeling. This dude 2 years ago is just playing video games online and just playing, he's been in the competitive scene for a while, but he's just one of many,
Halo streamer, I think. He was I know that he played a lot of Halo back in the day, and then kind of moved around, bounced around to some other games. And
he was playing some H1Z1, and then Fortnite took off. He jumped on just like a lot of people did. He wasn't the first. He did get in early. Yep. But
I think that was
part of what made Ninja awesome was that he was really good before a lot of people were good. Yep. And so I think anybody can get better, but when you see the amount he plays, I don't think Ninja's there's nothing's gonna click with him to get better. He's already playing. It's like when you go to the major leagues in baseball or something. Some guys they're really good. They're really, really good. Maybe they're even all-stars, but they're not going to be the MVP of the league. And I think that's Ninja right now. He's going to win some. He hasn't won much since the real pro tournaments have begun. And I watch a lot of the pro tournaments for Fortnite. Yep. I think it's really fun to sit back and for a game that I can play decent, it's fun to be able to see other people play at such a crazy level.
Yeah.
And so, but like you said, he took a lot of shit. He still takes a lot of shit for selling out or for being the way he is. I mean, he is on stream 12 hours a day. His life is broadcasted, and we all got to watch and witness, if you were there, his transformation from just a kid, with a bandana on to now his shirts are in Walmart, and he's making enough money to where Red Bull comes in and transforms his gaming room. Yeah. I mean, that was phenomenal. Like look, if we as gamers truly want to see that revolutionized and actually become a real thing. I mean, when I was a kid, my mom and dad literally laughed at me because they said, your mind's gonna melt playing video games, and you can't make money playing video games. You got to go to school, and I can't say the same to my kid, and not be lying. You can make money playing video games now, and you can make significant money playing video games. So, any other
every
pro
college
league
has a team. They have scholarships. They have it's insane. It's insane.
It's a thing.
The amount of money that is generating from this, and what's coming out of it for the community.
Well, I always put it into this perspective. The amount of money that people put into football is astronomical. Football makes ridiculous amounts of money, and there's a lot of people who enjoy football. But in my opinion, and I could be way wrong here, but I think the market is as big or bigger for people who like video games. And so now there's avenues for people who like video games to go spend some of their money on the extracurricular activities of the video game, not just the game itself. So, for example, you can go to Twitch and you can throw $1 or $2 at somebody and say, "Hey, thanks for, being in the thing." But I know if there was a game convention or a Fortnite tournament over here in Orlando or something, I would go to it. I'd pay money to go to it. I think that'd be fun to do.
Oh yeah,
just like a sporting event.
Every year.
Do you? Oh man, did you get to go to the Fortnite one?
I did. Yeah. They had Fortnite was everywhere this year. It was literally Facebook Games had a huge booth. Twitch had a huge booth. Trying to think who the other ones, some of the other ones there, but literally, you would just walk by and there'd just be screens, and it would just be people playing Fortnite. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, it's awesome, but that game is out and it's free. There's all these other games you can't
you're spending money here to go to this event, and you're just playing Fortnite.
The other part of it though is that it's also just like it's a big community party, like those things. It's a celebration of the games that we love and the people that, love them as well. So, for some people it's like, hey, I'm going to go play Fortnite or, PUBG or Call of Duty or whatever. And, I'm going to meet some new people and maybe I'll play games with them online and,
I think especially as we get older, that kind of stuff is super hard. Like, I mean, I am kind of cheesy when it comes to this stuff, but I reminisce about some of the fun times I had with certain people. Like, man, I used to play games with my buddy Julian and we would laugh like fucking madmen every time we got a snipe in Battlefield. And like, it makes me want to go back and play those games. And then you pop those games in and you're like, good Lord, how do we play that game at that speed? And, like, but it throws everything in perspective. But I think one of the things that Fortnite does is it puts together the community regardless of, like, you can run into some good people while you're playing. And obviously there's always going to be the trolls and the losers and stuff. But like, back in the day when you played Call of Duty or something on Xbox, almost every lobby was just filled with hate and terrible people. It was just bad. I mean, all the time. And so there are those people. There is toxicity, but generally speaking, even in all the different games like Battlefield 5, Call of Duty, some of the VR games, actually the VR community is phenomenal. But you get like camaraderie. You get people looking to win, and I think
looking to help each other.
Yeah, Fortnite's been plagued with the 7 to 12-year-old, really annoying kids and stuff like that. But I can still find groups with people that are, it's actually funny. It makes it easier when you run into somebody who has been dealing with the same crap, and then. Someone's like, hey, you got a mic? You say, yeah, I got a mic. Oh, phew, man, you're an adult. Oh, thank God. And next thing you know, you group with that person for 4 or 5 rounds, until it's over. But last night, Joe and I got to jump on to Call of Duty it's my first time playing this year. Actually, first time playing in quite some time. And I played one game. We got one win. And his buddy Adam, Blackout. So we were a three-person squad. Went in, landed a construction site, didn't leave the construction site. The circle closed in on us. We eliminated everybody. It ended up, Adam was the last man standing, got the final kill, and then we logged off. I said, I'm 1 for 1, batting 1,000 in 2019 for Call of Duty.
I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty. I've been getting really into it. Not just
are you playing Blackout or are you playing multiplayer too?
I'm doing both. Yeah. I don't really like the zombies mode. I think it's got too many layers on it for me to figure out, like, the menus and the I don't know, like the potions or whatever it is. I just don't have time to.
I've never played a zombies, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie.
It's not good. You're not missing anything. It is not good. It just doesn't feel as tight. The zombies feel like they're, bullet sponges. It's not the same. But, I think you and I talked a little bit about this. I jumped into the multiplayer and it's Call of Duty multiplayer. You run in, you get shot, you respawn, you run in, you get shot, you respawn. And it's just frustrating. I was banging my head against the wall. I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep at it, because I remember back in the day, Modern Warfare 2, I used to play a lot of that, and it was the same thing, but then you would get better and you would get maybe 15, 20, maybe 30 kills. Who knows? But bottom line is I was having fun, and that was what I was doing. So I've been jumping in here and there for Blackout. I've been watching a lot more of Dr. Disrespect. He's kind of like the Twitch streamer that I kind of found to enjoy, because he's got that skill, and I think he's funny, and he plays some good music and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love Dr. Disrespect. He is he's another guy, got a lot of shit, but he made a mistake. He confronted it.
Yep.
He was the #1 Twitch streamer for 2017. Yep. Ninja comes along, takes that throne. One of the things, not to derail you, we'll get back on to what you were saying, but it was an interesting move that he took. I mean, these people are making millions of dollars. They have financial advisors, and I don't know if they have managers, so to speak, but I'm sure at that level they have consulting, the people are working with them to make sure that their brand is taking the right direction. Dr. Disrespect, he's got the Gillette sponsorship. He's got his own level of production that is just top tier. I don't think there's another person on Twitch or YouTube that has the same level of production skills that he has. And he could have literally his own Saturday afternoon TV show. The guy is solid. He cheated on his wife. He took this was so. What's that?
He confronted it. He came out about it.
Exactly. So actually, let's set the tone here. So he won the Twitch Streamer of the Year award in 2017,
and the Game Awards, trending game,
and the Game Awards. Yeah, so he was like the number one guy, getting 90,000 people every time he signed on, and just like when you look and see Ninja get on, and then he had his jump to fame, rise to stardom, and I don't know the details. I don't know if he really got into it, but he did cheat on his wife, and he confronted it. Not that makes it any better, but at least I'm sure that was an agreement between him and his wife or something. He came out, told his fans, I'm taking a break, and this is what I did. I gotta fix some things. He went away for like a month or two, came back, and he came back with the same Dr. Disrespect character. A lot of people were contemplating or speculating what if he'd change anything, if he came back. He didn't. He actually came harder, and he apologized to everybody, but he's starting from, I'd say, a quarter of the way up. When he logs in now, he's got 20,000 as opposed to 100,000. And I seen that guy at $120, I think, at one point. So he has the skill set. He lost a lot of fans. He got a lot of hate in 2018, probably rightfully so. Yeah. But as he moved forward in 2018, he played a lot of Fortnite. He played a lot of PUBG, and he played a lot of Call of Duty. He was probably the top Call of Duty streamer for the year. And then during, I would say September, October-ish, someone was shot at his house. Yep. And while he was live on stream, I was actually watching him live when it happened. It was nuts. And it just kind of puts things in perspective when when I do this podcast. I don't ever anticipate that someone's going to listen to it, get so mad that they're going to want to confront me. But this guy has this character that's, he's a jokester, but he's yelling at people. He's taunting people. That's his character. And
that's his character.
Some people take it.
They
took it too far.
He's like a wrestling heel. He's like he's like an 80s, 90s character. And I think it's awesome. I think that's probably why I like him. On top of the skill that he has, his sniping skills are. Oh my God, insane.
He's really good.
I know you have, obviously, you have Sergeant Sniper on this episode, and I'm not trying to say that he isn't the top, but Dr. Disrespect, I follow his YouTube channel, and he's got like the top 50 headshots and everything. I'm like, man.
Yeah, he's really good, especially with games like Call of Duty where he has more control. The bloom in Fortnite gets the best of him, and I think that's why he gets so frustrated. But he finished the year with the last 2 weeks of streaming being 100% Fortnite, and I thought that was an interesting take. He was calling it Fortnite 2.0 or something, like learning the basics. And he was joking around, basically telling everybody he's trying to teach the old folk how to play Fortnite and teaching them the basics. But I think really what he was doing was trying to get into the mechanics, because from a business standpoint, that might not be the game he wants to play, but that might be the game he has to play. And so we'll see what happens as he comes back for 2019. If he jumps in playing Blackout and PUBG, or if he's solely Fortnite. I mean, he could potentially take the top spot in Fortnite as Fortnite streamer if he plays his cards right. Someone like Tfue, who just has pure skill but very low personality. I mean, let's be fair. People like him, but most people watch him because his skill is just ridiculous. Yeah. It's phenomenal. It's absurd. But he's still getting more a lot of times he gets more streamers or more viewers than Ninja now. So he's like the top Twitch guy. It balances between him and Ninja. But going back to Ninja, kind of going full circle here, Ninja had his New Year's Eve party in New York. They brought him in to stream for Twitch in Times Square, overlooking the where the ball drops, and they had him right there. Sure, a lot of the people out there didn't give a shit who Ninja was. They put him out on the street in the middle of the rain. They had him talk about Fortnite in front of people, do a little dancing. It was silly. Should you hate him for it? No, the guy's doing what he's kind of being directed to do by Twitch and by Fortnite. This guy's making hundreds of millions of dollars a year. He's got to maintain that brand. I think that as long as we don't have these gamers get pigeonholed into every one of them has to be family friendly and every one of them has to follow this mold where they're not going to make it. As long as we don't go down that route, I'm 100% cool with it. Ninja can do Ninja. Tfue can do Tfue. Dr. Disrespect can do Dr. Disrespect. And all of them are making millions. And that's the best thing I think about this whole process is that the sky's the limit. If you've got the skills, whether it be talent, pure skill in the game or personality, you could make it. And it could happen today or tomorrow. You could be 70 years old and get the views. So
there's what is it? There's a 80-year-old lady that still streams Skyrim, and
oh, good Lord, I gotta catch that.
She gets thousands of viewers every day, and the community really wants her. They want Bethesda to put some type of memorial in the next Elder Scrolls game, when that comes out in the next decade or whatever it is going to be, because she's 80 years old, she's playing this game, and she's showing that, hey, even octogenarians can be playing these games. I mean, you see, video games are not. It's not how it was when you and I were kids, where it's it's like, all right, video games are for ages 8 through 20
16
or 16 or whatever it is. They're not like the pimply nerds that are getting made fun of by the bullied jocks. It's just,
but they were also the simple 8-bit. There was very little story. There was very little true detail in the games. And now these are worlds. They're stories like a TV show or better. And so you're right. It's not just for one genre or one age group or one type of person. It's for everybody. I mean, if you look at some of these, again, I go to a lot of the Fortnite streamers. That's what I watch. But Nick Merckx is another one. This guy is an obvious football jock. He was he would have been the guy beating up the pimply nerd playing video games as a kid. And now he's a top streamer. There's all different types of personalities out there. I think there's one for everybody. And, some people still laugh at you watch people play video games. That's so dumb. Well, do you watch people play football? Do you watch people play baseball?
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Do you enjoy it? If you enjoy it, who gives a...
is the same as us watching people play video games. You're just like I want to watch the best people in the world. Do it. If you
liked watching ice melt, who gives a shit what other people think? You know what I mean? That's the best part is obviously there's a market for it. Not a lot of people like watching ice melt, so there's no TV show about it. Melting. I would watch it, at least one stream of it.
Totally watch a stream. Just the icicles hanging on the building. I'm going to see that one fall. I mean, look at some stupid fucking giraffe video that went.
Oh my God. The baby, the one that gave birth.
Yeah. Yeah.
People, my wife watched the hell out of that.
Yeah, who cares? Just it's 2019. Watch what you want to watch. Do what you want to do, as long as it's within reason and you're not harming others or whatever.
Exactly.
And just let's all be fucking happy.
100%, man. Too many people are worried about what other people are doing, and next thing you know, they're the ones texting while they're driving. They're the ones, passing the homeless person, mocking them for being homeless, and just do you. We do me, or whatever, whatever the words are. I'll do me, you do you.
If you're into Insane Clown Posse, by all means, more power to you. I'm not going to listen to it, but if you want to listen to it and you're not, shooting up malls or movie theaters or whatever, then hey, whatever. We got one life to live. We have one shot on this planet. Let's make the most of it. Play some fucking video games.
100%, dude. So tell me, you got the VR. What games have you been playing?
VR. Oh man, let me tell you. So Christmas, got the PlayStation VR. I got the edition with Mosh and Astrobot. Plus I had Thumper, Wipeout, and Resident Evil 7.
Oh my God, there's so many I want to start with, but I got to start with one. Have you played Wipeout yet?
That is my favorite experience so far in VR.
Now, let's pretend Joe's listening right now.
Yep.
He loves racing games.
I do too.
I hate racing games, and that game is amazing to me.
Yeah. I
don't want to get
too far into this, but I actually got one of those like expensive steering wheels, that has like the force feedback, and I'm down in the basement playing Forza.
So you got, which one do you have?
I got the Thrustmaster TMX.
Okay, so the other day there was a deal for the G29.
Yep.
And I ended up grabbing it, and it hasn't come in yet. I get in a couple days, but I got the rig with it.
Here's what you got to do. You gotta commit. You gotta get. There's some pretty good videos online of getting a setup. Here's what you do. You get a cheap car seat. You get some 2x4s. You build a setup so you can mount it. And there's like a couple of videos that are like 2 minutes long, and it's honestly probably like $50 at Lowe's, and plus whatever you can get for a seat. You mount it, you get Gran Turismo, you get the PlayStation VR, and then you could be driving using the wheel and the pedal and being in the car.
So I ended up getting a mount. They had a mount on sale, like the rig, the whole thing, for like $90. And I already got that, and I already put it together. So I'm just waiting for the wheel, the clutch, and the pedals. And I guess I got to get Gran Turismo. I don't own that one yet.
Yeah. You could probably get it on sale. I would look into the VR. As far as I know, you can do the whole game in VR. I don't know if it's like a separate mode. But it's a simulation. The other thing too is you're going to be. It's like anything. You're going to be terrible at it at first.
Yeah.
It's a simulation racer, so make sure you have your assist turned on and just try to really understand how the cars feel and how you're racing. It's not Mario Kart. It's not Crash Team Racing. You can't just it's like all gas all the time. You have to slow down around turns, and you have to, I don't know if you're going to use a shifter or not, but downshift and upshift. It's driving.
Oh, yeah. If you have the wheel, you got to get Dirt Rally.
Oh yeah.
Because that one, I do have that.
Yeah.
And that one is nuts. I mean, but
that's on the
that
Game
one
Pass.
Gives you. Is it?
It's on Game Pass. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Get that. Dirt Rally is another one. I mean, as far as the feeling of driving, it's ridiculous. It makes you feel every hill, every bump. That one gives you nausea, but not in the same, not VR nausea. There's two different types of nausea.
Oh, I felt VR nausea.
Yeah, VR nausea is something that it's so difficult. Regular nausea is like when you go down a roller coaster and you feel your gut come up into your mouth and you're like, oh, that feels gross. And then it goes away. VR nausea is that same feeling amplified by 100.
You feel like your whole body start to get warm. This is what I experienced. So I was at my, up until getting a PlayStation VR, I only used the VR once at my friend's house. And I was like, I got to try it. I got to make sure that this is something that I actually can handle, because they don't have demos of it at Best Buy anywhere. The only kind of demos I can ever get is if I go to the Microsoft store and then I'm using a Vive Pro, which is obviously going to be amazing. And, you're not going to get that as much. And the games are going to demo aren't going to have that. So he sets me up and you might have to correct me here if I get the name wrong. I think it was called Riggs.
That's right. That's the right. Oh, you got the Riggs. Yep, that's where I got my first.
That's like you're in like the big mech, and it's like a basketball, football kind of game, I think.
Yeah, it's like Call of Duty football.
Oh.
And when you jump 40 feet in the air and you fall, you feel like you're falling for. But did you get the sickness in the game, or did you get the sickness in the pre-game training area?
He put me right into a game, and I got it there, and then I felt that way. I did that, and I did the what's that? Dawn, the roller coaster shooting, rail shooter.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. Yeah. Which was okay. I didn't get as sick, but I remember like after playing those two games, I'm like, man, I'm not getting those games.
The games, the games that I recall getting the motion sickness, the first one ever was Riggs, and when I got it, it hit me so hard. I felt that way for 3 days. Like I was off, I was uneasy. And I went back into Riggs later, and I didn't get the same experience. But I got it in the training mode, and I heard that the training mode there's something wrong with it. A lot of it comes down to the developers, and it's your brain interpreting what it's used to. I mean, it's kind of similar to, in a way, not totally similar, but in a way, to like what an astronaut would feel going into outer space. Things just don't react the same, and that takes adjustment. I mean, serious adjustment. You can't just go to outer space for 6 months and then come back on Earth and walk around. Your brain, you have to get acclimated. And same thing with VR. The problem is there's nothing to acclimate you. There's nothing. Each game is different. Each game is designed differently, and so a game like Farpoint, for example, starts you off in a like a movie setting. You know, things are happening. You can look around, but you can't move. And then finally, when you land on the planet, there's nothing. I mean, you're walking around for 5 minutes, and all it is getting acclimated. And I think, thinking back to it, I never realized that's what it was. But there is no motion sickness in Farpoint for me. It was walking around.
Do you play a lot of it?
Seeing your shadow. I beat the whole thing. It was awesome.
Did you?
Yeah, I recommend
watched a couple of videos and, a couple podcasts I listened to. You know, it's weird. It's funny. One podcast I listened to, super high on it. Another, not so much. But they're also more into the Rift and the Vive Pro. Where
it's weird. The people who shit on that game, I don't quite understand why yet. I don't know. It's a solid game, especially the time it came out. It came out early in VR's existence. It was the first game with the aim controller. It used that aim controller as perfect as you could imagine any game using a gun as a controller. I mean, it's perfect. And I mean, the story, I guess if you hated the story, you would hate the game, but I didn't hate the story. I liked the story. I thought it was fun. Other people, like Jed, when he played it, he wasn't a huge fan of it, partially at first because it didn't have left-hand mode. And then secondly, he got to the story parts and he would just run right through it. Like he wasn't listening to what was going on and he didn't care. He just was going to the next zone, going to the next zone, going to the next zone.
That's how I played Far Cry 5. I didn't care about the story. I just wanted to, get into it and like shoot stuff.
Yeah. See, I sit there and take my time with games and I'll let the whole audio clip play before I continue and stuff. And that's probably why it takes me longer to beat certain games. But
yeah, and that's the way for me for most games. I just find if like, all right, the story's not clicking for me, but I'm having a hell of a time doing this or whatever, then, whatever, I'll just like put a podcast on and play and, while it's I'm going. Funny. But yeah, it's different for every person.
I play a lot of games with Jed primarily. He's been my prime gaming partner for quite some time, and he plays games so differently. He beats most games like 10 times faster than I would beat a game, and we're playing Diablo together right now, Diablo 3, And you know, he's like, "Hey, let me power level you." Okay, so we go in and he's power leveling me, and I'm gaining levels every 10 seconds, literally.
What do you
And I'm
play
like,
on?
okay, well, PlayStation 4.
Okay, I just got it on Switch.
Did you? It's a phenomenal game.
Yeah,
So
I love the game.
So he's power leveling me, but I'm like, okay, well, let me listen to this audio clip. He's like, no, just follow me, just run. Okay, well, what am I gonna? You can do that later. Let's go. And we go through, we beat the level. The next thing, okay, let's get the bounties. Blah, blah, blah. Just constant running and moving forward and not stopping to appreciate any of it. And I get it. You know, he's either done it before or whatever. But I'm like, all right, so when are we gonna actually play the game? If the whole time I'm playing is going to be me running behind you, trying to keep up, and there's no monsters because you're killing them all, like at what point are we going to settle down so that we can both play something that's challenging? You know, and I love this game. It's a lot of fun, but his play style is like, this is the game. That's what's fun to him.
Yeah, well,
and what's fun to me is a little bit different.
Diablo's an interesting one where, you know, it's you kill stuff to get loot, And, you know, Blizzard has had seasons where, you know, they'll release new gear and, you know, you go through and take on these different challenges. So you have some people that have beaten the game probably two dozen times. And, you know, I was a big Destiny player up until Forsaken when, you know, all the games came out. And I would, you know, the thing that I hated about Destiny was like, you know, I wanted to do the raids, but I didn't have anyone to play with because nobody wants to play Destiny. So I would just go through the strikes with random people, or I would try to do the some of the higher level stuff. And people are just they're sprinting and they're not like waiting and like looking at what's there, what's going on, what the story is, but also like how many enemies are there? Like what do we have to do? And it's like, all right, guys, whoa, settle down.
Yeah. I mean,
that's just some people's play
at that
style.
level. It's no different than just watching a clip on YouTube of the finish. Like and what's funny is, you know, Jed's like, there's no progression in Fortnite, so I don't like playing it. Well, now there's progression in the sense of there's seasons and there's things to accomplish in a season. And he's like, yeah, but it's not the same. It's not that you can't become godlike. And it's like, oh, well, okay. And again, there's
one of the things that I think like is like really works really well for Fortnite. I think that they do DLC, and I think that, you know, I love the fact that they don't have loot boxes. Everything they put right in front of you.
They do, but it's in Save the World.
Yeah. Oh, they do have loot boxes?
They're loot llamas. But yeah, they do have them. In Save the World,
but no one
in Save the World version, you unlock guns, and there's so many more guns in the Save the World version, and you know, hand weapons and things. And to unlock them, you either have to play and get lucky or use V-Bucks to buy loot llamas. So they do have them, but they didn't bring them over to Battle Royale, which I think is a smart move.
Right. So the thing that I think, like, really, like I said, like works really well for Fortnite is that's a third-person shooter. You put your $10 in for your battle pass, and then you have your tiers, and then you get your skins, and then you're seeing your character. You know, I've been playing Call of Duty, and I'm like looking at like, all right, what is this battle pass? Like, what does it have? Why does it like why like the Dia de Muertos or whatever it is? You know, those skins are awful. And I'm like looking at the skins, like they just came out with new ones for the new year, where they have like, you know, they have like a samurai knight, and they have like this
a
like
robot
reptilian armor. And I'm like, guys, this is like I know that, you know, it's a video game, but first off, it's a first-person shooter. You're never gonna see yourself. Back it off. Like, they are trying so hard to get that Fortnite money, because they're like, Fortnite, you know, it's the biggest game in the world, and Call of Duty for the last. They're 10
trying,
years.
But they're not going the direction they're supposed to get that money. Like, it's sad to say. Yeah, what's sad to say is if they want to get that Fortnite money and they want to stand out and start getting some of the players, they need to have a rubber chicken as a character. They need to have, you know, stupid, silly things that people can put on, because that's what people want to have fun. That's what I've learned, as silly as it is, especially in Fortnite. When you look around, there's the guys who are playing serious, and then there's the guys and girls who play with like, no skins. And then there's the Frosty the Snowman, like running around with a giant fucking snowman head. That's what people want to do, silly stuff. It's funny. And yes, kids do it, but adults do it too. I do it. I actually am running around right now with like the chicken head because I don't care. Like, I don't care about losing or getting killed. And
is that like a new
it's funny
thing, the chicken head?
Well, there's actually a funny story behind it. A kid submitted, some kid, like his name's Connor, I think it was. He's like 6 years old or 7 years old. He submitted a drawing on Reddit of what he thinks the next skin should be. And then some artist came along and like redrew it in a real professional style.
Yeah.
And they took that artist and they hired him. And now he's made a bunch of skins. But he made that kid's skin for him, and it's in the game. And so the kid's concept is now a reality, and it's a silly looking it's a chicken with a freaking egg as a backpack, and it's like it's funny. And so I mean, the Epic is doing the right things when it comes to keeping engagement, and they obviously are pissing some people off, but there's a cause and effect to everything. And with the billions of dollars that they have the data to know what's more important. Yes, they're pissing off some of the esport league, but they're also offering them millions of dollars. So
they're also doing a lot. They're giving back a lot. Like the Epic Games Store launched on the day of the Game Awards. And, if you compare, like, I think Steam is very similar to PlayStation, Xbox, and Apple, where it's like a 70-30 cut, roughly. Yep. 70 to the developer, 30 to Valve. Epic comes out and they have an 88-12 split, which, for some of these smaller developers, like that's everything. That means literally everything. They're giving money back to people that created assets in the Unreal Engine that that Epic and other developers use to put into their games. They went and they retro paid like all these developers like almost a year from like creating these assets, because they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to start paying you more for like creating assets or whatever. That's awesome. Depending on how they're used. They're making all the right choices. They're, people like to shit on them because they're the biggest. They are the biggest right now. And they came along and they said, hey, you know what? PUBG has this thing that we think is really cool, and we're going to do it too. And then theirs became bigger, and everyone went to that game. And that's fine. Everyone, I have a group of friends. They play this game called Escape from Tarkov. Have you heard of it?
Oh yeah, I watch a lot of people play that. Yeah,
I know nothing about it, but I think it's like a Arma, like, right?
Yeah, it's I think it's a battle. It might not be battle royale, so I could be wrong here, but I think it's like a battle royale similar to H1Z1 and PUBG and Blackout.
Yeah, but like that's a beautiful thing. Like you have games like that. Then you have games like Warframe that has their dedicated community. Do you know Warframe? It's like a third-person Destiny kind of game.
I played that when it first came out because it was one of the first free-to-play games on PlayStation 4.
And it was terrible.
Yes.
And there's a great documentary you should go to No Clip on YouTube, and they have like a 2-part series on the story of that developer. They basically were a company that would kind of help finish up a lot of games for other companies, or they would they would do a lot of licensed games. Came in, created a game, basically put everything on the line. If this game fails, we're shutting down the studio and everything. Made it work, and then they've just been supporting it and changing it and listening to the community and updating it. And it's all free, except for obviously like whatever you want to put into it. And that's awesome. Like, who cares what people play? As long as Epic is going to be the biggest. Like, I don't play Fortnite. I don't particularly, I didn't get into it, and that's fine. That's me. That's what I want to do. Yep. I don't care about PUBG. I found, a connection with Call of Duty because I used to play a lot of Call of Duty. And Blackout is pretty good. I enjoy it, and I actually went on Joel's YouTube page and I watched that video of him like with the Bowie knife.
That's a funny video, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, man, that's more action than I've ever seen.
I know that was a funny moment, man. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I have a quick story about Blackout. So I got my buddy a copy of Call of Duty for Christmas because I knew that was going to be the only way that I could get someone to play with me. So I got it on sale for like $30. Got him online the other night. It's like, all right, let's play Blackout. He's like, can we just do multiplayer? I just want to shoot stuff. I was like, let's just try it. So we're on the map. We land. He's just sprinting. I'm like, dude, you gotta slow down. There's 88 other people on this island, and there could be snipers and whatever. You don't know what's there. He runs down goes down a hill, goes into a building. He's like, oh man, there's so much stuff there. Meanwhile, I'm still in the bushes. I see this truck fly by, stop. Guy gets out, and he's like, hey, what was that noise? I was like, buddy, there's someone in there, and then he's dead. And then he's like, what was that? So he's watching me, and I'm just kind of like slowly and methodically going through the whole thing. I'm picking up some aid kits, picking up some armor. I got a gun, I got a scope, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to die like soon, really soon. But I didn't. I just kept kind of crawling and moving in the circle and moving in the circle. And we'd see people, and he's like, oh, get him. I was like, no. I got to be patient.
Yep, you got to be patient.
Got to be patient, because if I get them, everyone's going to know. And when I get them, I'm not going to kill them because I'm not a good shot. So moved along, got all the way to the smallest the circle gets. And there's it was a duo. So there's these two teams left. They kill those two people. And now there's just these two guys in there. I'm like, he's like, what are you going to do? You just going to sit here and forever? I'm like, no, I'm going to wait. Guy comes up, still didn't see me. I'm in the prone in the bushes, machine gun him, and then I die. But it was still awesome to, come in like number 2. I was like, wow, that's the best I've ever done at any of these games. And it might be the best I ever do. But it was fun. It was cool. I love the moment to moment tension of it. It's a cool feeling. It's like why we watch horror movies or, The Quiet Place or whatever it is, it's.
Oh, just, that was a crazy movie.
Yeah. Oh,
but man, you're right. The tension. That's what I miss about the original Fortnite stuff is the tension that came along with playing that game. I mean, the tension's gone.
You got into that game right when it came out, back 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, I've been playing that game since a couple days after it came out.
Do you remember when that game was first announced back in 2011? Did you see that at the Spike TV Video Game Awards?
I probably saw it back then, but I don't recall. But I've gone back and seen the videos and stuff, and watched some documentaries on how it has progressed. I mean, the amount of time I've played in both the Battle Royale and the Save the World is just it's the most I've ever played any game. To be honest,
I watched that live, and I remember Cliff Bleszinski came out, and I was like, all right, I love Gears of War. Let's see what this game is. And I'm looking at the the art style. I was like, okay, it's kind of like a Pixar style, Pixar art style game. And it looks like you're going to do building. So it's got that Minecraft thing going on. Looking forward to it. And then year after year after year went on. It's like, all right, I guess, what's up with this game? And, things here and there would pop up. And then I think I remember right before E3 2017, I think it was 16 or 17, they re-released it, and it's like, hey, the game's out. Save the world. It's like, okay. Didn't light the world on fire, whatever. And then all of a sudden, now we got Battle Royale, and now it's the biggest thing ever. So just my story about Fortnite.
They definitely, it's a cool, there's actually a lot of history that goes into the Epic Games stuff, the stuff that even, how Fortnite even came about. But they, that Save the World game is a good game that was truly the early access aspect. It still is early aspect. The game or whatever they call early access. It's not done. it's not done. I mean, when you get the game, you jump in and there's 4 levels you can go into. Each zone. You beat the first zone, you get to the next zone, you go to the next zone. Well, when the game came out, you go through the first zone, you get to the second zone, and all of that has story, detailed story. It's a lot of fun. The quests are fun. They help you progress through and get stronger and learn more. They have storm shield defenses, which is basically a waves shooter scenario where you build up a base and you defend it for a period of time or a certain amount of enemies or whatever. And then a couple rounds later, you got to come back to that base and enhance it and build another base next to it and grow. So the game has a lot of potential there, right? Well, then you beat the second zone and you get to the third zone. And up until a couple months ago, that third zone was just matches. There was no story. So you could play all of the rounds. You know, they have different game modes. Deliver the bomb or defend the base or whatever. They have all different types of game modes. You could play them all. And the progression, you got the XP and you got this and that, but you didn't get the story. So it was just an unfinished game. And it definitely it felt that way. It was a shell of a game at that point. So you're playing and you play for a while because it's fun, but then you're like, what's the point? Yeah. Well, they came along and they finished the Canny Valley, which is the third act. They finished the story for that. And they put out a thing that said, if you've already beaten it, you can go back and play it again and play the story, get all the XP again and everything. So they've revamped a lot of things with the Save the World game. They've made it a bit easier to play. I won't get into all the mechanics and stuff that they've done.
Why isn't it free?
Well, it was always supposed to be, and now it's not going to be. And I don't know why. They never explained why.
It's not going to be at all?
They said it's not going to be.
Interesting.
So, but you can get it if you pay $20 for it. You can easily within a month get $20 worth of V-Bucks. So if you're someone who buys V-Bucks, that's a good route to go.
Oh, I get a lot of emails V-Bucks telling me different ways to get V-Bucks every day.
Just watch this YouTube video. You'll get 40 V-Bucks. My son thinks that's true. But so anyways, long story short, the last thing that they did was they added a final boss at the end of the Canny Valley storyline. And if you beat that final boss by December 31st of 2018, they're going to send you a physical pin in the mail.
Oh, wow. So, that's cool.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. And I had gone so far in that game and I'm like, I'm going to get that pin. So the last couple of weeks of December, that's all I did was play Fortnite Save the World because you weren't going to have, as much as I've played that game, I wasn't getting away with not having that pin. As silly as it sounds. But, so we're hitting the hour mark here. We have a lot more we could probably talk about, but I'm going to get you on in another episode. Sure. I want to finish off because we've talked a lot on this podcast about Todd and, just about, I love to be able to say, I've got a friend in the WWE and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
But for those listening, Justin this is Todd's his best friend, right? I mean, it's safe to say you've been best friends for a long time. And yes, he's moved on into the world of wrestling.
Yep.
But you guys have stayed connected and while I can say Todd's my friend, there's definitely no comparison to how close you and Todd are. So I want to hear from you how awesome this experience has been as you've seen his journey go and how now to be able to see your friend on the big screen, like when you and him were little watching The Ultimate Warrior and Hogan or whoever, how does that feel? I mean, it's got to be amazing.
That's one of the best feelings in the world. I mean, like you said, he's one of my best friends. Through high school, middle school, and most of grade school, he was my best friend. Hanging out every day, playing with wrestling figures, playing video games. We basically melted the N64 playing No Mercy, and it's the best feeling. And I remember back in 2012 or so, he messed up his shoulder really bad, and it was looking really bad for his career. And wrestling was all he had. It was all he had. He was working at a sex toy store in the warehouse and packing them up. And it's like, well, don't know how much of a future you have there, but wrestling was everything. And I think that's great that he dedicated everything to wrestling to make it is like, it's make or break, and it's going to happen. So hurts his shoulder, shows up at my Christmas party. He's got a beard. I'm like, wow, it's quite the beard you got there. He's like, yeah, got this new look that I'm doing. I'm going to be the brand new bad. And he was big into juicing, not the bad juicing, not the Vince McMahon juicing, but the
green juice,
the shakes, like where that's all he had was like vegetables and fruits or whatever, and cut himself down. And he's always had the skill. He just didn't have the body. WWE always wanted him to be, 250 and 6'5", and he that's not him. But the guy can do moonsaults. The guy can do, the guy is a high flyer. He does, stupid little cartwheels and whatever. I love it. And he texts me and he'll be like, having lunch with Takumi Shinoki right now. I'm like, you fucking asshole. Or he'll be like, he'll send me a picture of just like him with Billy Gunn, who's one of his closer friends. And also he works with him at the Performance Center. Or, he'll send me messages. I get it all the time, where he's just like, I'm hanging out with this guy, or this person just showed up, or whatever. And
it's surreal, right? I mean, it's
yeah. And you saw the pay-per-view, right? The takeover.
Oh my God. That was unbelievable. That was really unbelievable. Unreal. The spots that those guys pulled off. And I don't really watch wrestling anymore. I kind of fell off of it once I left for the Marines back in 2005. And, a lot changed, like the people that I was like really following changed, and WWE changed. But I really like NXT. I really like what they're doing. It's all about the wrestling. It's all about the skill, and they let the stories take place in the ring. And I love that. It's why I love the NJPW, which, Todd is a 2-time tag team champion of, I think. Yep.
Something like that. But it's amazing. It's, they had this great match in the cage, 5-on-5, had him on my big screen, had a big party. My son is like, pointing at it going, that's Todd. And he's holding his wrestling figure. It's unreal.
Whenever we put, it's funny because we went to NXT when they came down to Jacksonville, and Todd was there, and it was actually right when they got announced and everything. So they weren't supposed to be there. And I remember Todd was messaging me, and he's like, yeah, that no one knows we're here, so we may not wrestle. And then I got the text right beforehand. He's like, yeah, we're actually going to have a match tonight. Wow. So there was a part in the show where someone was about to come out and you weren't sure who it was. It ended up being Ricochet. But right before Ricochet was coming out, I'm like, War Machine! And everyone's looking at me like, you're crazy. And then not too long afterwards, they came out and everything. And I had told my kids about Todd, and we had the action figure with us. So of course they're like, where's Todd? Where's Todd? Where's Todd? Where's Todd? And finally when he came out, it was like, that was their main event. Yeah. They saw Todd, they were going nuts. The crowd was going nuts for War Machine.
Yep.
It was, that was their Hulk Hogan moment. Like they saw Todd, as their Hulk Hogan. It was awesome. So now, anytime wrestling is on TV, they'll watch, but is Todd going to be there? Is Todd? That's all they say.
That's the exact same way my son is. And, my son is Langston. He's, 2.5 years old. The kid's insane. The kid will jump off the top of the couch onto the floor, like on his ass, and then just get up and do it over and over again. He's crazy. And so, you see Todd, you see this, big guy with a beard doing like jumping off into the crowds and everything like that. And he's just like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Yep. And, one thing that was great for Todd, great that Todd did for me is I was having some issues with my kid where he was, he was getting really physical, punching and biting and tackling. And, you have 2 boys. I'm sure you deal with it all the time.
Yeah, know exactly what you mean.
Prior to him, I have 2 girls. It's very different. And, we're like talking to him, and I talked to Todd, and I was like, hey, this is a challenge that I'm having. Is there any way that you could maybe just send me a video saying something to him about, like, what you do and how it's not real, and that hitting is not okay and bullying is not okay. And he did that for me. And I got a response from him. This guy is traveling the country, traveling the world, hanging out with, Shawn Michaels is, his childhood hero, the number one person that he loves more than any wrestler as a kid. And Shawn Michaels trains him every day. And
That's
he
amazing.
just stops and he sends me a video. It's like, like, what more could you ask for? And that's what I love, is this stuff has never gotten to his head. He is the most humble person about this. And
just as an outsider looking in, as an outsider looking in, I've always seen his humbleness. And I think that's what has always kind of been his Achilles heel, is he's such a good guy. He's always looking to put somebody else over. He has a solid foundation in every organization he goes to. And instead of just being the dominator, the Brock Lesnar who comes in and destroys everyone, he does the job when he needs to. He puts people over.
He's the Mick Foley.
And so it shows you his character, his true character. But I think he could have been WWE bound many years ago if instead of that, he was selfish. And not saying that's the route he should have taken. I think it's awesome. The route he took is the proper route for him. And but it just goes to show you that he's an awesome person, and he's finally getting his due. I hope it continues to go forward. I think it will, because there's such an evident lack of not only skill, but the tag team division has always kind of been really important, and it's not near as important as it used to be.
No.
And whether he stays in NXT or moves on to WWE, they have a true tag team that has a history. There's an awesome story about how they got together. Yeah. There's, you got their look, their style. I mean, the Dudley Boys, they have what all the big tag teams have had. They have it. And so there's nothing stopping them from moving to the next tier. WWE for the longest time, from what I could see, it just felt like they were just putting 2 individuals together, 2 mid-card individuals, and then making them a tag team. Every time. There was no longer, you had the New Day, but they're kind of more of like an entertainment thing anyway. But, your tag teams, your Legion of Doom, your New Age Outlaws, your Road Warriors, the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, all of those, the Dudley Boys, all of those great teams, that kind of got lost. But War Machine, or the War Raiders, are, they are a single unit together. We are, I think, they got their thing, and I love it. And I'm so happy for them. I definitely do believe 100% that, one day, whether that's within a year, 2 years, whatever, you will see them in the WWE, and you will see the tag titles on them. And you know what? If he never has a singles career, that's fine. I think he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. He has his niche, and he does amazing. But if he did have a singles career, I think he'd be amazing. Oh, I do too. But when you think of Legion of Doom, or you think of Demolition, or even the Dudley Boys, I know Bubba Ray went on and did his singles career and everything, but there are certain people whose favorite act is the tag team, not the individual. And so that's okay too. I mean, when I think back to the old days, or, my childhood, it was, there was the Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, but when Legion of Doom came out, that was the most amazing feeling. Like that was their music hit. That got me. Came out. Every hair on the back of my neck would stand up. Like that would hit, and you would be like, "Fucking A!" Like that. WrestleMania that was 13, awesome. Chicago Street Ball. It was
Legion of Doom and Ahmed Johnson.
Yes.
I think they took on the Nation of Domination. And what I love about that is Ahmed Johnson came out with the shoulder pads on too.
Yes.
They like basically brought him in to it. And, I kind of really hated what they did with LOD 2000 and everything, but like,
but that was writing as opposed to the team themselves.
No, the team themselves, they were the best. They really were the best. And Todd and Ray have that.
Yep. So, oh man, well, Justin, man, it's awesome to talk to you. I really am glad to get you on. We're gonna get you on again because there's a lot more content that we could get into. I can't wait to hear your progress in VR. Do you have the paddles yet? No, there are. I saw your link on eBay for the eBay one, and I didn't jump on it. They're so expensive. It's ridiculous. Like this technology from 2011, they probably just have a warehouse of them and they're selling them for $50 each. It's maddening. Yeah. Well, definitely. Let's see. I'm going to look right now. Sorry for the clicking on my keyboard here, but, sometimes right after the new year, $22. Buy it now. So you can get two for $44. Where's that? They're refurbished, but they're the top. It's the top result. I just typed in Move Controller in eBay, $22.99. Okay. Don't make the mistake and get the secondary Move Controller. You just need two of the ones with the white ball on top. Okay. And refurbished is fine. I mean, there you go. Well, let's see. That's 4 days left. Never mind. The 2022. I'm looking at only buy it nows, so that's your best bet. But I would recommend doing that. Get two of those controllers and get yourself Beat Saber. Every person that's played it has loved it and wanted to get a VR or are getting the VR or have gotten it. Blew my mind the one time I played it. Yeah, it really is that good. And it's silly that it's just a simple game. It's so small. It's like under 100 megs, I think, like the download, or 250. Everything else is like 4 terabytes to download a game. This is... I got to delete games just to download games all the time. Yep. Oh, yeah. I will do that. Thank you so much. Yeah, check it out. It's definitely well worth it. And have you played... One other one I want to ask, did you play Astrobot yet? No, I have not. I actually had a friend over the other day who wanted to try it, so I let him try it, and I watched him, and I was like, man, I cannot wait to get into this. It looks awesome. Yeah. And everyone's raving about it, so I know I'm going to have a great time. And, what I saw of it, I'm like, all right, it looks like Mario Odyssey, kind of. I love Mario Odyssey. Why not? No, except the one thing that I do love is the jumping that he has where he shoots like the laser down is totally a Mario Sunshine jump. Oh, it 100% is. Yep. Super underappreciated game. That game is amazing. Anyone that tells you otherwise is wrong. You're 100% right there, though. It is. It's got a lot of that feel baked right into it. And even down to some of the characters look exactly the same. But, the enemies look exactly the same as the enemies in Super Mario. But I'm completely cool with it. The game is awesome. So, well, anyways, Justin, Happy New Year to you. I'm going to message you with the link right. Let's see. Let me paste this before I forget. Now you have no excuses. Move controller. Got it. And, on the next episode, Joe and I are going to talk a little, or hopefully we get Joe on and we're going to talk a little bit about what the game plan is for 2019. Yep. I've been working hard on, I just upgraded my computer. And so now I have a top tier computer for video editing and audio editing and things like that. Also streaming. Joe's been doing some streaming on his Twitch channel, Team Emar Gaming. And as always, you can find all of our links on our social media at our website, thebacklogexposed.com. You can check us out on anchor.fm/thebacklogexposed. Not sure how you're listening to the podcast, but feedback is always welcome and warranted. So, rate us, review us, share us, we're starting to spread. We hope to spread even further in 2019. And if you think of it, help us out, share it, let people know about us. That's the only way we're going to make it big. And just maybe you might see our faces doing live Twitch streams, live podcasting, and I think that'll be a fun venture to get into for 2019. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get you back on, man. It was a good talk, and I appreciate your time. Hey, and thank you, everybody, for listening. Episode 35, 36 in the books, and talk to you next time.